You have big dreams of losing weight and creating a healthy, joyful life. But you find yourself craving sugar, caught up in what the scale says, and diet hopping. Dieting is the old way of losing weight. And the good news is I'm going to give you a new way of eating so you can ditch diets for good and build a healthy relationship with real food. My name is Megan Olson, certified nutrition practitioner, creator of Skinny Fitalicious, and your host of the Dish on Diets show.
Hello, friends. Today, we're talking about 10 mindset shifts to escape the diet prison you're living in. So many of you are living in self-imposed diet prisons. You want freedom, but you keep enabling restriction because that's all you know from all the diets you've done. Interesting thing is I speak to a lot of women in my free consultations and they tell me, Megan, I have no idea what to eat or how much to eat. I listen to your podcast. I follow you on social media. I have no idea what to eat. How much should I eat at maintenance? How much should I eat in a deficit? Well, here's the thing. You have survived up to this point as an adult, so I think you probably know some things about what to eat. Like, I think you know probably what kind of foods are probably healthy. The problem is you have always enabled restriction through diets. So mentally, you're just always dieting, always mentally thinking about what you should or should not eat, mentally beating yourself up, mentally questioning your choices. You are living in a self-imposed mental diet prison, yet you have no physical results for the diet prison you live in. You think food is the problem. But it's not. If I tell you I want you to eat 100 grams of protein daily, does that solve your snacking? Does that solve your obsessive thoughts about food? Does that solve your nighttime overeating, you skipping meals, you making everyone else a priority other than yourself, you not planning any meals or taking the time to look at the store for easy protein and fiber options and looking at for foods that you love? No. Knowing does nothing unless you take action. Knowing does nothing unless you take action. Your mindset, though, is a large part of why you do not implement the things that you do know that could help you. So that's why today I'm going to give you 10 mindset shifts to help you escape this diet prison you've been living in. I can tell somebody all day long how much to eat, what to eat, how to balance their meals. But the bottom line is they won't implement that if they have a lot of what I call stinky thinking. Stinky thinking, stupid thinking, catastrophizing, not taking radical ownership, not believing in their ability to change, reacting to emotions, thinking they can't do anything when life happens. Your thinking and emotions get in the way. Changing your health and losing weight requires changing behaviors and patterns. Changing behaviors and patterns requires a new way of thinking and dealing with things that happen in our life and dealing with our feelings and emotions. So, here's 10 mindset shifts coming your way to escape your diet prison. Get your pens and papers ready so you can write these down. Number 1 is you are your own hero. I talked about this in the last podcast episode. No one is coming to save you. You are your only hope. It is up to you to change your life. You can hire a coach or a nutritionist, but truly you are your only hope. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to make sure you eat your protein, eat your balanced meals, get your steps, not be a jerk to yourself, and get to bed on time. No one is coming to save you when you dive into your pantry and overeat instead of journaling or dealing with whatever you're feeling at that moment. No one is coming to hold your hand. No one is coming to slap the food out of your hand or tell you you didn't screw up last night when you ate all the ice cream in the house and you're feeling bad about yourself. You are your only hope. That means you get to be the hero of your story. And the hardest part of my job as a nutritionist is that I can't make you want this. I can't force you to change. I can't force you to implement. I can't force you to do things. There have been some clients, not many, but some clients where I have wanted the goal for them more than they wanted it for themselves. Or I have seen the potential in some women, and how somebody is just like 1 or 2 steps away from like radically having a different life, but I can't force their hand. You have to be your own hero. You have to swoop in and save the day, save your life. The problem is most people have to hit rock bottom, unfortunately, before they really make a serious change. Some people have to gain 50 pounds before saying, oh my gosh, I better do something here. Some people have to have a heart attack or get diabetes before they, do something and take their health seriously. I can't tell you when that moment is going to be for you, but I can tell you it's a much easier road if you can foresee that rock bottom and do something about it proactively before it happens. It's a lot easier if you're a 30-year-old who's got 25 pounds to lose and a little bit of overeating going on to fix this now versus when you're 67, 77, and you're hating your body and you've got 50 pounds to lose and a lot of overeating going on. The other thing I think you need to hear is that you're not hopeless. You're not broken. You can do this. But you have to take action and take radical ownership of yourself. You have to learn how to push yourself to do things even when you don't believe they will matter. I mean, I talked about this last time that sometimes people will say, I don't want to go for a walk around the block, or I don't want to go for a 10-minute walk because it's not going to matter. The problem isn't that it's the distance. The problem is that you're not consistent and you're not giving yourself a chance to get stronger. Going every night for just a walk for 10 minutes or a walk around the block, if that is where you're starting, is guaranteed to get you stronger because right now you're doing nothing. How are you going to get stronger from nothing? And you're also going to be way more consistent with that habit. You have a better chance of getting 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 steps versus doing nothing, versus waiting for the right time to do it the right way. You're not getting stronger that way, right? So part of my job as a nutritionist is to meet women where they are at in their journey. So if somebody is not following through with their plan, we have to sort of dial it back to something they can be consistent with, right? If walking 30 minutes a day is too much or trying to get 10,000 steps a day is too much, we're going to work on a smaller goal. Let's just walk around the block, or let's just do 10 minutes. Because here's the thing, you can only do so much in the beginning. You can't go from 0 to 1,000 and expect yourself to sustain that. If you're not walking at all and suddenly you try to walk 10,000 steps a day, it's going to be really hard to sustain that dramatic of a change, right? It's a lot easier to just be I'm just going to build a habit of 10 minutes and I'm not going to worry about the rest right now. And the other thing is look, you can only scale back so much, right? If the plan is practical and doable, and I would say walking 30 minutes or walking around the block or walking 10 minutes, that's pretty doable. But if you're still not doing it, then the question is, why aren't you doing it? And you have to eventually realize no one is coming. No one's coming to push you out the door. No one's going to save you. You have to put the plan to pavement. But there are some women who need to be told that they're not helpless and broken. You need to take ownership. And I've seen so many women, say things like, well, I just can't bring myself to do this. I've been doing this for almost 11 years, and some individuals have told me I just can't bring myself to go for a walk around the block. Well, maybe you don't really want to change. Maybe you don't really want to get healthier or fitter. And please don't take this out of context, because there's a lot of nuances to why people don't do what they say they want to do. But you always find what you're looking for. If you're looking for an excuse not to go for a walk, you are going to find it. Let me tell you. The thing is if I said to you, I'm going to give you $100 to go for a walk around the block every day for the next 7 days, I think you would have a little motivation to do it, right? So why is it when it comes to the idea of taking care of your health and feeling amazing and strong and proud and healthier and confident. Why is that not enough of a motivation, right? Like, at what point are you going to force yourself to do the thing you don't want to do? We do this with kids all the time. Kids complain all the time. They're like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to pick up my room. I don't want to go to school. I don't want to do this, right? They do that all the time. And we gently force them like, hey, you need to do this, right? We have to do that same thing with ourselves. It's like we have to parent ourselves. Because remember, no one's coming to save you. If you don't save yourself, you are going to find yourself someday older, and you are going to be with all of the struggles that you've had your entire life. You have to learn how to push yourself to do things even when you don't really want to do them. Just like you do with your kids. Just like you do when you brush your teeth. And I mean, do people make excuses about brushing their teeth? Oh, I don't really want to brush my teeth. And do you battle like mentally with yourself back and forth? I don't want to brush my teeth. Right, because you don't view teeth brushing as optional. And that's the difference. You view walking, you view fueling your body well with lots of nutrients like protein and fiber and good balanced meals. You view that as optional, which is kind of crazy. That means you view your health as optional. Well, I don't really have to take care of my health today. I can worry about it tomorrow. I mean, until you start owning that and calling yourself out on your excuses, nothing will change. But the amazing news is you get to be the hero. And you and only you can transform yourself. It's up to you. So if you want it, you have to go after it. You have to push yourself, even if you don't believe in yourself, because belief comes from taking repeated actions and doing things over and over and over again until you can prove to yourself that you can do it. It's time for you to prove to yourself that you can do it. Give yourself 1 year. 1 year, I'm just going to walk around the block. 1 year, I'm going to walk around the block. That's it. Give yourself a year. Number 2 is you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent and for longer than you think. Most people severely overthink what they have to do and think it has to be extreme. Remember, my one rule always is if you can't follow a way of eating or an exercise plan until you're 85 years old, you shouldn't be doing it. Because all it is going to be a short-term Band-Aid. Weight's going to come back, right? Health problems come back. So no more extremes. The truth is you don't have to do that many things to actually see results and get healthier. It's all pretty basic, but it's not actually easy because what's not easy is the demands of our lives, our jobs, our stress, our families. The problem is, unless you get rid of all that stuff, it's always going to be there. But that means you need to start smaller with your habits than what you think will make a difference, than what you think will matter. Just like the walking I just described, walking 10 minutes a day. If you can commit to walking 10 minutes a day, every day for the next year or 30 days, you're going to be way more consistent than if you walk 3 times for 30 minutes during a 30-day period. A lot of women that I've worked with over the last 11 years get really caught like in this perfectionism of things when really it's really about being consistent overall. What are you doing most of the time? If most of the time you are including your protein in your breakfast, getting your protein goals for the day, hitting your fiber goals, you're consistent even if you do go out to brunch 3 times a month, right? And this is the mental diet prison a lot of women get trapped in, though. They're like, oh, my God, I went over my calories Friday night. There was a party, yada, yada. I couldn't stay with my calorie target. I'm like, that's fine. What was your average calories over the last 30 days? I mean, it's not what you do on this one day. It's what you're doing overall. It's the forest, not the trees. A lot of women get caught in the trees, not seeing the forest, and are living in like this all or nothing diet prison. Funny thing is, you are not all or nothing in other areas of your life. Do you buy eggs and when you get home, 1 egg is broken, so you throw the entire carton of eggs out? No. Do you wake up late for work, don't have time to shower, then say, I'm not showering until Monday. I can't do this showering thing. I mean, no, nobody does that. Do you get a flat tire, then get so mad that you got the flat tire that you run around and you slash all the other 3 tires? No. You are not an all or nothing person in any area of your life. But If you continue to view your health habits this way, you will forever be in a diet prison. And a lot of women I see in my nutrition practice are living in this kind of extreme all or nothing mindset with food and exercise. They say they want freedom, yet they enable incarceration. For instance, I had a woman I was talking to recently tell me she wanted to start coaching, but she had to wait 8 weeks because she had 2 weekend trips coming up and 1 wedding. I was like, are you planning this wedding? And she was like, no. But she was like, well, but it's like Friday night, we've got the rehearsal dinner, and then Saturday we've got the wedding. And I was like, okay, let me get this straight. You mean you can't do anything, nothing for 8 weeks for your health because you've got 2 weekend trips and a wedding that you're not planning? And she was like, yeah. There's just no way I can focus on this and give this my attention. Now, I'm not picking on anybody, but this is just an example of stupid thinking. Dumb, dumb, dumb. And this is what I mean by a lot of you are incarcerated in a diet prison and you don't realize it. I'm sorry, but this is a mental diet incarceration right here. You mean to tell me you can't get any protein with any of your breakfast over the next 8 weeks? You mean to tell me you can't get a 10-minute walk-in and still do these things, these 2 weekend trips and this wedding? This is a classic example of somebody waiting for life to be clear. Honey, life is never going to be clear. And if you can't do some basic things like including your protein with your breakfast and just getting a 10-minute walk over the next 8 weeks while living your life in a normal state of busyness where you've got 2 weekend trips and a wedding to go to, we got problems. This is why you're stuck. Because the problem is, this is where a lot of women are at, and they don't realize how dumb their thinking is. You would never do this in any other area of your life. If your child's school called you at work and said, your child is sick, you need to come pick them up, do you tell them, sorry, I have to wait until I'm done with work? No. You pick them up and you figure out the best you can do to finish your work for the day and get dinner on the table. Instead of saying, I can't do anything, ask yourself, what's the best I can do? You got stuff coming up. You got travel. You got a wedding. What's the thing that I can do? You mean to tell me you can't do anything? That's a classic example of all or nothing thinking that keeps people stuck. You have to get into the mode of what's the best thing I can do? What can I do? That way you're doing something instead of nothing. This is Sabotage 101, guys. But this is where a lot of women are with their health. Listen, this isn't just about losing body fat. This is about your health and you feeling your best. You're telling me this is the most important thing to you in the world, but you can't do 1 or 2 little things like go on a 10-minute walk and make sure you got your protein at breakfast while living your normal life. If you can't do this while living your normal life, we got bigger problems. You're still thinking like a dieter, not like a healthy person. This is the kind of thinking that keeps you trapped in a diet prison. Always thinking it has to be the right way, the right time, or the perfect time, or you have to be perfect. Stop thinking in terms of perfection and all or nothing. Start thinking in terms of what's the best I can do just to be consistent. Start thinking like that. Number 3 is the work is going to be kind of boring. I talk about the boring basics all the time. Podcast 102, I talk about the 5 basics that are guaranteed to get you healthier. They are all simple. Simple, simple, simple. But you know what? A lot of us don't do boring very well because we suck at boring because it doesn't give us a dopamine hit. We get a lot of opportunities for dopamine hits in our lives. One of them is our phone and social media. Like, think about if you could go 3 hours without picking up your phone. Could you do it? I don't know a lot of people who could do it. One of the things I do because I really love doing it is teach spin classes on the weekends. I've been doing it for almost 10 years now. And one of the things I have noticed in my journey over the last 10 years of teaching spin classes is that people in classes can't sit and just do like work in the saddle, like a saddle climb for even 30 seconds anymore. They get bored. They start to sit up. They start to look at their phones. They start to stretch. They start to drink their water and they don't do anything. They're not actually working. They just kind of stop riding their bikes. I'm like, this isn't the break, kids. A lot of times I'll say that in my class. This isn't the break. Breaks, this is not where we break, right? It's crazy because people's attention spans, because of phones and technology and social media, people's attention spans are so short these days that they need to constantly be entertained, constantly have a dopamine hit. So I have learned as a spin instructor that I need to keep people engaged and moving quick. I need to keep them out of saddle almost all of the time. And I do see this with clients quite a lot. They don't do boring well. Because again, we're not getting a dopamine hit, right? So for you, the mindset shift to get out of the diet prison that you've been living in is that boring is what works. If it's boring, I must be doing it right. If it's boring, I'm on the right track. Boring makes my life easier. You know, it's interesting because we do boring in a lot of areas in our lives. Like a lot of routines are very consistent in our lives that we do. And we don't seem to mind it. Like we drive the same way to work. We have a similar routine every morning. We brush our teeth the same way, usually with the same hand. We put on our jeans typically with the same leg all the time. You do boring all the time. So if you could do boring in all other areas of your life, you could do boring here too. Boring and repetitive is what works every single time. And it actually does make your life a lot easier. I mean, if think about it, if you're always having to reinvent recipes and look for new recipes and reinvent your new meal plan every week, that's a lot of work. You can't hang on to that. Boring is what makes your life easier. That's what gets you out of the diet prison. A lot of midlife women are kind of in this like bad mindset that there must be something missing. This is too slow. Fat loss isn't going fast like it used to. This is, and the thing is that this is such a terrible mindset because, you start to think like something's wrong with me. I must be missing something. And so then you become really susceptible to the influencers who are marketing things to you and marketing things to you things that you don't need. You're scrolling on social media and you see somebody talking about this thing, then suddenly you're like, that's what I need. Except it's not what you need. Recently, I did a reel on Instagram about a Facebook post I was tagged in. And a woman in a Facebook group that I'm in, she was asking if anybody in the Facebook group had a cortisol detox diet plan. She said, I searched all over online and in Pinterest and couldn't find it. And so I made a reel, and you know what I said? You can't find this cortisol detox diet plan because it's not a thing. It's not a scientific thing. A cortisol detox plan is not a plan. It's not a meal plan. It just sounds new and exciting. Sounds a lot sexier than let's go for a walk and get our 10,000 steps and let's eat our protein and balanced meals and our fiber and do some strength training, doesn't it? Sounds a lot sexier than those boring basics to take care of your health. I mean, we have a liver and kidney that detoxes us. There is no such thing as a meal plan or a drink or a supplement that detoxes you. It's not a thing. And the thing is like, unless you have Addison's disease, you do not have a cortisol problem. You may have a burnout problem, but that is a lifestyle and stress management problem, not a food problem. I love how people automatically think when they are stressed out, maniacs in their lives, that food is somehow going to solve that they're a stressed out maniac in their life. How does food solve that? I mean, they're overextended in their lives. They're way overextended with their jobs, no boundary setting, racing around like a chicken with their head cut off with their kids and all of the events, and they think food is going to solve that. Food is not the fix to that. Food doesn't solve that. Whatever you are doing with food is a symptom of your lifestyle and stress being a hot mess. We need to solve for those things. We need to do better in that area. We need to learn how to ask for help and set boundaries. Funny story, since we're on this topic, my boyfriend's niece came over the other night for dinner and she told me, oh, Megan, I bought this like detox supplement. And I told her, you know, honey, you might as well have lit your money on fire because it's junk. You know what I told her to do instead? Cut back on your alcohol because that prevents your liver from actually doing its job. Eat real meals because she skips them a lot. I told her to drink her protein, get some fruits and vegetables, eat some fiber because fiber helps to detox us as well. Drink water, exercise more regularly. Sound too basic? Yep, but that's what works. That's your plan right there. So you can't say, I want fat loss. I want frictionless fat loss that I don't have to think about. I want to eat like a normal person. I want to put a plan on autopilot and not have to think about this stuff all the time. But then say you don't want to do boring. Well, the boring stuff does work. And it actually works really nicely when you're consistent overall. That's how it works. So if you say you're not the kind of person who can do boring very well, maybe you're not the kind of person who gets results. I think anyone listening to this podcast can get results, but if you can't accept that the work is going to be boring, like brushing your teeth and taking a shower, brush and comb your hair, it's all boring. Like taking care of health is boring stuff and just repeating it over and over again. So if you're not the kind of person who does well with boring, right? I mean, results are going to be tough for you to get. That's just the bottom line. Number 4 is you never need motivation to take care of yourself. Escape the diet prison by reminding yourself you never, ever need motivation to go for a walk, to eat your protein, to eat your fiber, to do strength training, to eat balanced meals. You don't ever have to feel like doing those things to do them. Remember what I said earlier? No one is coming to save you. You can't bank on motivation or feeling like it. Nuh-uh. Imagine saying, I don't feel like going to work. I don't feel like feeding my kids. I don't feel like combing my hair or brushing my teeth. I don't feel like paying my taxes unless I feel like it. I don't feed my dog unless I feel like it. I don't do the things to be a functional adult unless I feel like it. Listen, you don't let that stuff slide anywhere else in your life. But when it comes to this stuff, your health, you do. And arguably, you got nothing without your health. So it's kind of silly that health is the place where we let it slide. And I'm saying this to help you. So if this is, triggering you and bothering you, it's because this is something you need to work through. You don't have to live by never needing motivation to take care of yourself, but don't plan on living a long life or achieving fat loss results with that kind of mindset. If these are the goals that you say you want to live a long time, be an example to your kids, be around for your grandkids, be mobile as you age, like how you look in pictures, feel comfortable in your clothes, lose weight and keep it off forever. Awesome. But you're not going to be motivated most of the time. If you can't show up when you don't feel like it, or you're not able to execute when you're not motivated, or you're not able to take unmotivated action, you're not ready for results because you can't show up for yourself when you don't feel like it. If you've been sitting doing nothing and struggling and haven't moved your body and don't do anything with your nutrition and you've slacked off on this stuff for a really long time, but then you think you should be blessed by the motivation fairy, that's not how this works. It's like, your child not applying for a job and expecting someone to show up at the front door with a job offer. No, they have to apply for a bunch of jobs and see if somebody calls them. But if your child is like, nope, I'm going to wait for a job to come here and knock on my front door or call me. You're like, no, that's not how this works. Motivation with your health habits is no different. You don't wait to be blessed by the motivation fairy. If you're doing nothing, then you say, I'm going to start with something tomorrow, and then you don't. You're expected to be motivated from that? Like, think about how crazy that sounds. If you have a friend who does nothing but makes plans with you constantly and then blows you off at the last minute, they never show up, they treat you like crap, talk down to you, and are unreliable. Are you going to be magically motivated to do things with them? No, they're a flaky friend. That's the relationship you have with yourself. You are the flaky friend. If you don't have a good track record with yourself, if you never show up for yourself, you're always saying you're going to do things, but you never do them and follow through, you talk down to yourself, that means you are unreliable to yourself. You are showing up to yourself like with no integrity and character for yourself because you don't do the things and follow through on the things that you say you're going to do. I'm not saying at all that you're a bad person. I'm saying just when it comes to your health, nutrition, and exercise, you are acting like a flaky friend to yourself and you're not going to ever feel motivated to do things for yourself. But if you start showing up for yourself when you're not motivated, you're going to start feeling more motivated. But even then, there are going to be days when you're not entirely motivated. You don't have to feel motivated to brush your teeth or to shower. And the same goes for eating protein, eating your fiber, going for a walk, doing strength training. You don't have to feel motivated ever to do those things. And if you want to get out of this diet prison you've been living in, that means you no longer wait for motivation or to feel like it to take care of your health. No more. Number 5 is you can eat anything you want to eat, just not as much as you want. There's a lot of people who still think they can't eat certain foods and lose weight. This is just dumb thinking. Body fat is simply excess stored energy. Yes, there's some nuance to this conversation, but in general, food is just energy, and different nutrients keep us fuller, give us more energy, promote our health more. But losing body fat in and of itself is just losing stored energy. And you can lose stored energy, I hate to say it, by eating junk food, which I don't recommend, but you can do it. But I do want to emphasize that the quality of your nutrition really does matter, but it doesn't matter for fat loss specifically. That's the crazy thing. So for those of you who keep trying to be perfect with your diet, you should really listen up because you don't have to be perfect to get good fat loss results. In 2010, Mark Hubb, a professor of human nutrition at Kansas State University, actually conducted an experiment. It's known as the Twinkie diet. And he did this to demonstrate that weight loss can occur regardless of the foods consumed. So for 10 weeks, he ate processed snacks, including Twinkies, while limiting his caloric intake. He lost 27 pounds during the experiment. And guys, there are so many studies and randomized control trials that validate this, which is why it's so silly when somebody gets so upset when they ate an unhealthy food and they think that it ruined their whole diet. It ruined everything they've been working on. You are living in a mental diet prison if you can't eat pizza, ice cream, cookies without anxiety and thinking you messed up. You can eat anything you want to lose weight. You just can't have as much as you want. You want pizza? Awesome. You probably shouldn't eat a whole pizza. Don't eat it like a jerk. Don't pull an all or nothing card and say, if I can't have it all, I don't want it either. You know who does that? Toddlers. And when we act like that as adults, we have to get good at calling ourselves out. Like, come on, you're acting like a toddler. We don't act like this. Like, right? What would be a reasonable amount of pizza that I should eat? Like, think about like when you're regulating your kids. Do you let your kids eat an entire pizza? Maybe if they're like teenage boys, right? Because they have a really huge caloric consumption that they need at that phase of life. Maybe that's one exception I could see, but most of the time we're really good at helping our kids regulate, right? Like, let's say your kids are like, I want cookies for breakfast, and you're like, sorry, no cookies for breakfast. We need to eat this meal first, kiddo. We need to get some nutrients first, right? And so like we regulate really good with our children, and really it's no different with you. Just because you currently struggle with certain foods doesn't mean that you should give up. It doesn't mean that you should also continue to restrict them. You can't say, I want freedom from this mental diet prison and then enable restriction by telling yourself, I can't eat any of these foods. If you lose weight and have your dream body, like think about this. Are you going to magically just know how to eat these foods in moderation that you currently struggle with? Of course you're not. That's not going to happen. I don't know why people think that's going to happen. That's so silly. So breaking out of the diet prison means eating everything that you like with the parameters of your nutritional needs. If you're hitting your protein and fiber, eating fruits and veggies, and having pizza is not unhealthy or detrimental to your fat loss goal as long as you're eating within your energy requirements. It's also not detrimental to your overall health. That's the crazy thing, because we've got good balance when we've got nutrients coming in most of the time, and we also are balancing out that with pizza. Again, probably shouldn't eat pizza every single meal, probably shouldn't eat pizza every single night, probably shouldn't eat a whole pizza, right? Common sense. Now, what is detrimental to your goals is a psychological obsession that happens when we start to think we shouldn't eat something, or we can't have something, or something is going to kill us. That is how you remain in a diet prison. And there's lots of studies that have shown when people restrict foods, they will overeat them because you become obsessed with them. The Minnesota diet, go Google it. I've talked about it a few times on this podcast. That is one example of a study. Okay, number 6 is comparison is a distraction and it's slowing you down, honey. I can't tell you how many times a client comes to a call saying things like, my husband dropped 10 pounds last week cutting carbs. My sister-in-law did carnivore and keto and lost 20 pounds in 2 months. And here I've been working on this for 6 months and I haven't lost that much yet. My neighbor down the street did Ozempic and lost 10 pounds last month. You know, my response to that is, so what? How does that even help you? How does thinking like that help you? First of all, can you do what these people are doing until you're 85 years old? Can you do keto carnivore? Can you cut all your carbs? Can you do Ozempic till you're 85 years old? If you can't, I mean, what are you wasting any of your time comparing to them for? In fact, what you should be thinking is how much farther ahead you're going to be when these people gain all the weight back because they can't sustain it. Think about this. You're sitting around envying people who are crash dieting. They're doing disordered things with food. They're crash dieting. Does this make sense that you envy that? That is just stupid thinking. And you are creating your own misery with that way of thinking. You are making yourself feel bad over this thinking, and guess what? You get to control where you spend your time thinking. I wouldn't spend a stinking second thinking about any of that because, again, how does that help you? It doesn't. If anything, it stops you from taking action and taking care of yourself and makes you less consistent. It makes you question everything you're doing, so then you sit around feeling sorry for yourself and then you stop doing things and you don't do anything. That doesn't make any sense. You can be the creator of your own misery and suffering, or you can be your own hero. Be your own hero. Keep your own eyes on your own paper. And remember, just because somebody is skinny doesn't mean that they're healthy. I've talked about this a lot. My dad was skinny his whole life. Skinny, skinny, skinny. He could eat whatever he wanted. He had a heart attack at 36 and he got Alzheimer's when he was 61, 62, died when he was 71. He was very unhealthy, but he was skinny. So just because you're skinny doesn't mean you're healthy. Okay, number 7 is shift your identity to who you have to become to get what you want. The question is not how do I lose weight and keep it off? It's who do I have to become to lose weight and keep it off? I have to become somebody who shows up for themselves when they are not motivated, when they don't feel like it. I have to become somebody who shows integrity with themselves. I have to become somebody who works through resistance to get where I want to be. I have to become somebody who is consistent. I have to become somebody who walks daily. I have to become somebody who eats protein and fiber consistently. I have to become somebody who has a healthy, balanced relationship with food. If you stay the version that you are right now of yourself, you're going to get the results that are in alignment with who you are right now, which is where you are right now. If you are not happy with your results, you have to become an upgraded version of yourself, and then you'll receive the results. So, what do you want? Let's say you tell me, Megan, I want to lose 30 pounds. So let's say to lose 30 pounds, who do I have to become to lose 30 pounds? Now what you do is align all your actions with that version of yourself. That's it, and it's simple, but it's not easy. Never easy. You have to do what that person does. Who do I have to become who loses 30 pounds? Do what that person does. You have to become that person. Visualize that person and do what you imagine they might do. This is an important piece of changing behaviors that I believe diets don't teach people. Having healthy habits for life and staying strong, fit for life, and keeping weight off for life means you have to shift your identity to become the person, the healthy, fit version of you that you want. And if you don't want to be in a diet prison anymore, you got to kind of stop asking these questions like, what should I eat? How many calories in maintenance? And start asking, who do I need to become? What are the habits? What are the routines of the person I want to become who loses 30 pounds, as an example? Okay, number 8, we're getting close, home stretch. Number 8 is you can feel bad, but you don't allow your emotions to stop you from taking actions. So let's say you've been working on your habits for a while, you've been showing up for yourself, you've been doing a great job with your habits, and then you go to the doctor one day and they put you on that stupid scale, even though your nutritionist has explained to you that body fat percentage is way more important for your goals than a scale number. And so you get on the scale and you have a emotional meltdown over the scale, and for a week you do nothing. You stop tracking your food, you stop your calorie deficit, you stop eating your protein and fiber, you stop walking, and you start eating like a jerk. Then you come to a coaching call with your nutritionist crying about the scale. Makes sense, makes logical sense. You should do nothing when you feel bad for yourself. You should sit around and do nothing and eat all the food and eat like a jerk, eat your face off, never move your body, don't track any of your food, don't try to eat any protein or fiber. I think it makes sense, total sense. Let's sit around and do nothing and feel sorry for ourselves. Makes perfect logical sense. Makes sense if you want to stay in a diet prison. Doesn't make sense. And why people do this, I don't know. It's so silly. Listen to me, ladies. I see this all the time with clients. So if you do this, you're pretty normal. Women, I see in my practice, I see some women who, how do I say this, who are just emotional train wrecks, emotional basket cases, like over the scale number. Like I don't mean emotional basket cases and train wrecks in other areas of their life. I mean with the scale. Right? The scale number, like people are living and dying by it. Like, woof, you're going to take it to your grave? What are you going to do? I mean, you can't have a meltdown like this anymore. You cannot react to your emotions like this anymore. You can feel bad. You can decide that the scale means everything and it means you're a bad, terrible person and you're a fat person. You are allowed to feel as bad as you want. But you are not allowed to let your feelings stop you from doing the basic, boring things to take care of your health. At the end of the day, you don't get to control the scale. Control what you can control. Your actions are all you get to control in this game. You don't get to control whatever the number of the scale says. But you can control your reaction to the scale. Do you know how long it took me to lose 80 pounds? 1.5 years. After that, I had to learn to build muscle because I lost so much weight when I lost weight because I didn't know I needed to build muscle. I didn't know that was like a thing. And after that, I had to deal with burnout and Hashimoto's and changing careers and starting a new field in nutrition and going to nutrition school. And after that, around the same time frame, actually, I had a broken foot. And then my mom had 6 bypasses and I had to fly home in a boot with my broken foot. And what I thought was going to be 1 week helping her from her open heart surgery, it ended up being 3 weeks because she caught a virus in the operating room. She was super, super sick. Nobody could figure out what was going on with her. It was super stressful. And it was around that time that I started to notice something was really wrong with my dad, because he couldn't remember anything. It was really a really stressful time, and I was totally there all by myself on my own with a broken foot in a boot in the winter in Wisconsin. It was fun. So a few months after that, I had a stress fracture in my ankle. A year after that, I had a stress fracture in my fibula from a car accident when somebody rear-ended me on the interstate. Guess what? All these fractures, by the way, were from my 80-pound weight loss because I developed osteopenia because I wasn't building muscle, and I lost so much bone density because I didn't eat enough protein and build muscle, and I lost bone density and muscle. So I developed osteopenia. Thank God I no longer have osteopenia, but all these fractures were because of that. So anyways, I broke my fibula from a car accident when somebody rear-ended me on the interstate. And then after that, I had a hip replacement about a year later. And I was on my own for most of the recovery of my hip replacement because my parents couldn't be there because they lived in Wisconsin, out of state. I live in Arizona. After that, my dad was diagnosed with Alzheimer's within a few months. After that, I found out, and this was last year, that my boyfriend of 7 years who lived with me cheated on me with a married woman at work. It was super crazy. I learned all these crazy things, like he had been doing all this stuff with patients for over 20 years. And I talked to a lot of these other women that he had these relationships with. And then this married woman that he cheated on me with, her husband was the one that informed me of this affair. And A few weeks after he informed me of the affair, I find out that he died. He drowned in a swimming pool, mysteriously. So that happened, and that happened last year. And then 3 months after all of that, my dad died. So I'm not telling you any of this to feel sorry for me, because this is just how life is. Bad things happen all the time, and stress happens all the time. And life is never expecting, we never know what to expect with life. There's always ups and downs. But imagine if I had stopped taking care of my health and sat around feeling sorry for myself every time something happened in my life. Imagine if I did nothing but eat like a jerk and sit on the couch every time something bad had happened in my life over the last few years. The truth is, that is exactly what a lot of women are doing. And this is exactly why they are not where they want to be with their health, and they're not feeling their best and living their best lives. Ladies, we cannot sit around feeling sorry for ourselves anymore. Take your power back. Who do you want to become, and what do you have to do to get it? You need to be your own hero. No one is coming to save you. You have the power to change. You have the ability to do things even when you feel bad, even when life happens, even when things out of control happen to you. Do you stop brushing your teeth when you feel bad? Do you stop showering when something bad happens in your life? Why not? Those are health habits. No different than hitting your protein goal, hitting your fiber, walking, exercising, tracking your food if you have fat loss goals. You got to escape the diet prison and embrace your power. You can't live and die by the scale anymore. You have the power to do things to take care of your health no matter what happens in life. You can no longer be the version of you who stops everything when something happens or does not, or be the person who does nothing just because you feel bad. If you feel bad, go for a rage walk. If you feel bad, go lift some weights. If you feel bad, go eat your protein and plan your meal. If you feel bad, journal. If you feel bad, talk to your best friend. Notice how everything we talked about today is starting to tie in here. If you want to leave this diet prison that you've been living in, you have to realize that not doing anything isn't serving you. Stopping your habits to take care of your health is actually making everything worse. And overreacting to things like the stupid scale is never going to help you. You don't get to control it, just like you don't get to control other people in your life who do bad things to you. You don't get to control the fact that people you love get sick and pass away. You don't get to control any of the things in life. And sometimes life does just suck. But it's how you come out on the other side. And I will tell you, as somebody who went through a lot of really bad things last year, my habits kept me sane. Going for a walk kept me sane. Going in strength training kept me sane. Focusing on how I was feeling my body kept me sane. Leaning on family and friends kept me sane. If I had not taken care of myself, I would not be in a very good place mentally. And it's unfortunate because a lot of women think they have no control, but you do. It's all in your head. And if you want to escape the prison you're living in, you got to start working on being your own hero, because nobody's going to come save you when bad things happen. Okay? Number 9 is to honor all your wins, no matter how small they are. We have to stop putting ourselves down for not being good enough, not being perfect enough, not doing things well enough, where we want to be yet, all of that stuff. If you walk around the block and you're not walking at all now, that is a win. Like, stack up that win every single day. You're surely going to get stronger, even if you want to increase your steps from where you are now. I mean, if you have a crazy day and, likewise come home and you just walk around the block for 10 minutes, or you walk 10 minutes in your basement, but normally you go on a 30-minute walk, that's still a win, because you still did something. You didn't let the crazy day win. You won. So it's the same thing like if you go on vacation and you forget to bring protein on an airplane. You learn, hey, I probably need to bring some protein to keep my blood sugar balanced and to keep my hunger in check. That's a win if you learn something. If you go out to eat and track your food, even if you're not sure it's perfect, it's a win, because you tracked your food. You did the best you could in a situation where you never are going to be perfect. Take credit for every tiny, tiny, tiny win that you do for yourself. And I don't know why, but a lot of women are really hung up on always doing things the right way. And it's never enough. It's never good enough. I mean, you're not always going to be able to do things the right way, the perfect way. Life is always going to happen, and you just need to accept that and accept Whatever little wins you get in those moments and you can collect, those are wins, and you did the best you could in that moment. Collect them. Don't overlook them. And also, I think a lot of women have a hard time accepting just being a beginner in this area. Like, listen, you're building new skills. Of course, you're going to make mistakes. You're learning. Like, why wouldn't you make mistakes? Of course you are. Every little step, though, that you take is a step of progress, and that's a win. So stop looking at how far you have to go and instead highlight to your brain where the wins are. I mean, does it make sense to like put yourself down and be like, I still have this far to go? Yeah, I'm walking around the block, but still have this far to go. Like literally, you're canceling out the thing that you're doing for yourself now that's progress by putting yourself down and saying, it's still not enough. It's still not good enough. I mean, we have to stop doing that. That's a bad habit, right? So highlight to your brain where the wins are, no matter how little they are, and stack up the wins and stop looking for wins only with the stupid scale. Number 10 is no more restriction and deprivation around foods. I think a lot of women struggle with losing weight and feeling motivated because when they think about losing weight, they automatically think about all the foods they need to cut out. I need to cut out the sugar. I need to cut out the carbs. I need to cut out this. I need to cut out that. I need to cut out my ice cream every night. They have all like these good and bad foods in their mind. Well, if you go on a diet and you enable a ton of restriction, this is just going to make you desire those foods more, and you will mentally struggle when you eat them because you will think that you have failed or ruined your progress or that you're guilty of doing something that you're not when you eat these foods. You can't lose weight by enabling restriction and deprivation anymore, and that goes for calories too. You don't eat the least number of calories and lose weight. You eat as many calories as you can and lose weight. Imagine going to your job every day and saying, I'm going to do the least amount of work possible to not get fired. I'm going to parent my children at the least amount I have to so I don't have them taken away from me. What? That mindset is just so stupid, right? Eat as much as you can and lose weight. I love saying that, by the way. Stupid mindset. Like, that's just so stupid. Like, why would we think that way? So anyways, if you enable restriction, then you will fear this entire journey of you getting healthier and losing some body fat. And you will miss the fundamental point, which is for you to get healthier and to age well. You fearing not being perfect around the foods that trigger you, you fearing not being perfect and failing with your diet, you fearing being hungry is not going to serve you. No one loses weight out of fear unless they're a prisoner of war. And here's the other thing. If you don't learn how to eat foods you enjoy while losing weight, do you really think you're going to magically know how to do that once you lose weight? No, of course you won't. But that's what everyone tries to do, though. They try to be good and follow a plan and cut out everything they think is the problem. And then they're like, mentally like, well, when I lose all my weight, I'm going to reintroduce them later on. I'm going to bring them back, except that doesn't work. Weight regain is going to happen when you bring stuff back, because then you go back to how you were eating them previously, and you never learned how to create that balance and how to eat those things appropriately for you. And you probably never actually got to the fundamental root cause of your weight problem either that was causing you to overeat some of those foods. So if you say you want to eat like a normal person and have freedom around food, then you can't enable restriction because you're just incarcerating yourself in a diet prison by doing that, and your relationship with food will suffer. And your joy in life will suffer because food is still meant to be enjoyed. So no more going about this weight loss business through restriction and deprivation around foods. Capiche? All right, ladies. This was a long one, and I hope it was helpful. 10 mindset shifts to help you escape your diet prison. I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. By the way, I forgot to tell you at the beginning of the podcast, if you want to enter my monthly cookbook giveaway, I'm doing it now until December 2024. Enter your rating and review in Apple Podcasts of the podcast. Give it a 5-star rating and review, and I will select a September winner and announce it in an October podcast. So go ahead and leave those reviews, and I hope you have a good day. I'll talk to you soon. Hey, if you enjoyed this podcast, you have to come check out my free weight loss class. It's the 5 steps to lasting weight loss, how hormones impact weight loss, and the truth about lasting weight loss without relying on willpower, workouts, or deprivation. Click the link in the show notes to watch that free class today. And if you are a woman over 35 with 20 to 50 or more pounds to lose, schedule a free weight loss breakthrough session with me after you watch that class. And let's talk about your 20 to 50 or more pound weight loss plan.